Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another voice note episode. You're with me on my walk. And so you might hear a little wind here and there, or a bird, or a freaking leaf blower. It's just the world we live in. It's popping off, things are going down, and yeah, the world can be kind of loud. So, with these episodes, I really like to free flow, try to just speak from my heart. And what is on my heart is this metaphor of the butterfly, or really the process of metamorphosis, because I'm feeling transformed and new, like the same, but with a different form ish. I want to give you some background of why. First of all, it's because I just got back from a 10-day meditation 2 days ago. And secondly, it's because today, the day that I'm recording this episode, it's my birthday. So yeah. And, 1 year has ended of my life, and another one's starting. And I guess also I have been seeing butterflies everywhere, and it's like, yeah, no duh, butterflies are like all around, but I've been seeing like 5 different varieties, and I didn't even know that many existed. And I've been seeing them nonstop, all times a day, all different kinds of locations in the mountains here, all around. And so I'm just like, is it butterfly season? You let me know. I have no idea, but it must be something like that. So butterflies, butterflies, butterflies. This is funny. There's just a little note on the sidewalk that says, nope. So butterflies, butterflies, butterflies. I feel as though the 10-day silent meditation was like a really intense cocoon moment. And the day I came home was the feeling of like busting out of the cocoon, really like finding how to like push my way through, which emotional release after emotional release the day I came home. It was just like, wow. And so it felt like that, like pushing out of the cocoon. And then yesterday really felt like me learning how to be in my new form with these paper thin wings that actually I was just trying to flap and dry in the sun, as my friend Jasmine told me to do. uh, and figure out how to like find the courage to take flight back into the responsibilities of my life, to go back to my life, but in like a new form with the same essence, but you know, a new way of moving through the world. So some of you might be saying, cool, yeah, of course you did a 10-day silent meditation. And others of you are probably like, why would you do that? And the truth is that I have a very full life. I'm grateful for my life. I love my life. I'm blessed. I got a pretty good lot in life. But I was feeling incredibly overstuffed, like way too much input, way too much information, without having enough wisdom to know what to do with it. You know, it's like we live in this world where we get like inspirational quote and, you know, life hack and course after training, after technique, after this and that. Especially like, scrolling through Instagram, you can look at like, 5 different inspirational quotes and also like be fed a million products that are going to change your life and also like sign up to be a meditation teacher in 3 days and all these kinds of things like and just it's constant every single day. It's like so much. And then you have your social life and people you talk to at work, and it's the amount of input that we get in any one day just by like engaging in our day to day, even if you're not someone who's like super seeking all kinds of like, you know, uh, self growth and personal growth, like, information and tools and all that kind of stuff. Um, there's so much, and that's great, but I don't know if there's enough emphasis on applying, like application of things that we're being fed and learning. And so, that's just part of the world we find ourselves in at this day and age. And also, it's like, yeah, well, we have choices too, how much we allow ourselves to take in. And sometimes that can get like out of hand. Also, I was feeling overstuffed, even like physically, like food wise. And I think that's just because, as you might know from a couple episodes ago, the last time I did a voice note episode, I ran a 50K and I was just training a lot, like lifting and running for hours. And so you have to like fuel, you have to eat a lot in order to like, you know, that's what your body requires in order to do things like that. So I was just feeling like overstuffed, even like physically. So physically, mentally, emotionally, I had like all kinds of like social gatherings and events. Like the moment spring hit, it was just like popping off. And so, yeah, just too much, too much, too much. So I knew, and some summer plans fell through. We normally do a retreat each year in Peru in the summer, but lots of reasons why that just didn't go down this year. It is happening next summer, just putting that out there. Come to Peru with us. But anyways, so I knew, I'm like, okay, I need to sit another Vipassana course. Okay, raise your hand high if you know what Vipassana meditation is. Raise it high so I can see it. Just kidding, I can't see you, but you can still raise your hand if you want to. You can raise both your hands and take a stretch for a second and a deep breath. So we'll talk more details about that in a moment, but I had heard about that style of meditation like over a decade ago, but I was just like, that's insane. Because it requires you to do a 10-day course in order to learn the technique. That's what they've found is like the minimum amount of time required to like get yourself established in that technique. But I was like, that's cool. And then I think like a year later after I had like heard about it, someone started teaching at this yoga studio I was also teaching at. She had moved from LA to North Fork and was like, yeah, I'm a Vipassana meditator and there's a retreat center in North Fork. And I moved right next to it. And I was like, whoa, like I met someone who did it. And I'm like, okay, like you're just like a normal person and yoga teacher like me. And she had sat like many courses, like maybe even like a really long course, like a 40-day or something like that. And she was definitely like further along the path of me, not only because she was older than me, but she like traveled and done all these cool jobs and had been meditating for a long time. So it's not like, I was like, oh, like I'm just like you, so I can do it. But I was like, I could see in some time, like getting to like a place you are, and it's not too far off. And like, if you can do it, and especially if you can do it for like a long, long, long time, like, why couldn't I do one? And she was very like, yeah, like, of course, why couldn't you? Like, yeah, you can, And so very thankful for her for that. So I was like, cool, okay, I think I can do it. And I, had a small child at the time and lots of, things going on. And I just was like, I can't do it immediately, but I know I'm going to do it. And then maybe another year or two after that, like a year after that, I found myself with a lot of questions because I was unraveling a long-term relationship, a marriage, and I was getting a lot of input and a lot of opinions and information and judgment about um, my life and how I should move in it and handle it. And, you know, I was feeling extremely confused, and I was seeking to understand, why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Why did I say this? Why did I say that? Why did I yell? Why did I, like, why am I crying? Like, why am I, why am, why am I doing what I do? you know? And there's that adage, know thyself. And this technique of Vipassana, it is a technique of self-observation at like a deep level, mind body level. So I was like, I have to do this. And actually, it was like 8 years ago to the day I did my first course, because I remember I was sitting through my birthday, and I remember, because it's like silent, you can't even write or and give someone a note or like anything like that, or like mouth anything, because it's like, I might have said this, but it's like, it's noble silence. So it's not just like you're silent and you don't talk, you don't non-verbally communicate either, and you don't read and you don't write and you don't have your phone and you don't, yeah. So I just remember being like, it's my birthday and no one knows. And honestly, it's like one of my like best birthdays ever. It was just like me, party of one. It was awesome. So, uh, yeah, 8 years ago, like to the day, sat my first course. And that gave me so much clarity. I got what I could from it, um, being in the place I was, of course, and going through so much. But it really helped me turn the dial way, way back on like all the noise. And I saw the clear path I had to take. I was also like, I was devastated because I knew how hard it was going to be, and I knew how much it was going to take, and that I knew if I continued to distract myself in certain ways, it wasn't going to get done, and the sacrifice was going to be me, you know? And so, while I was both very grateful to like know, very happy to see, um, and feeling clear, I was also just rocked. But I had this technique, this tool that I learned, this style of meditation. And even after that first 10-day course, I sat disciplined, regular, and that helped. That helped me get through some rocky times of uh, that that period. And then, of course, like life happens and you fall off from doing things or having habits that help you. And I have a regular yoga practice and all kinds of different meditation styles and therapy and hiking and reading and friends and all these kinds of things. So, it's not just like I put, self-reflection on the table or self-observation on the table after that, but I did fall away from the specific, like more formal meditation technique of Vipassana. I mean, once it's in you, you never forget it, and I do feel like even if I would sit to meditate and just be like meditating on my breath, um, I would kind of naturally move into this kind of scanning that you learn. But, you know, not, I lost a formal practice, let's say, and years go by, and all these shifts and changes and ups and downs, and, the life stuff, life as it is, which is all kinds of spirally sort of loopy loops. Getting to the place where I am 8 years later, and I was just like, I know this feeling, it's much different because I'm not in a place of, such like severity of just being like, I gotta close this all the doors of perception down for a little bit, or I'm gonna fucking freak. It wasn't like that, like how the first course was, but I definitely was like, I know this feeling and I know what I need. I need to go and reestablish myself back in this technique that has blessed my life so much and that I feel so called to that path. And so I went and sat the course and went into the cocoon. And I was like wondering, like, it must be so intuitive for a caterpillar. Like, duh, right? It's just such like, it's like the natural instinct it follows to go into their cocoon phase. But, you know, I guess I never thought, I just thought, oh yeah, like it's just like mechanical. And then they just do that. Oh, look there's a white butterfly right in my face. It's just mechanical. Like, yeah, like they're a caterpillar and they eat, and then they're a cocoon and then they come out with a butterfly. I never thought about how scary it could be. Maybe it's not, but how like scary it could be to do what you need to do. Even if you're scared, you got to do it anyway. Like kind of like signing up for a 10-day silent meditation retreat where you don't have access to any way to get a hold of anyone else, or anything like that. Um, I wonder if there's like it's like they do it because they have to in order because it's necessary, but it might not be just like, yay, I get to like go to sleep now. Maybe it is, but I'm like, maybe it's not. And then, I guess I just imagined like, yeah, and then there's like this chrysalis and their goo, and like they don't even feel anything or know what's going on, which maybe that's true, but maybe it's not. Like maybe that is a really painful process to be turning yourself into goo and like remaking a new form. And that and maybe it's also everything, because that's what being in the meditation retreat feels like it's such a deep reset. And for me, someone who has like a lot of responsibilities or like things going on, it feels really like restorative in a way that it's like it's just the same timetable. I don't have to like make any decisions. It's like they're just like, this is like where you have to be and when you have to do, and this is what you eat, and like this is when you eat it. And, it's like kind of like yep, just tell me what to do and where to go. And so it is like relaxing and restorative in that way, and like peaceful and harmonious, because you're not having to like manage all kinds of like people and things and put out fires, because there's volunteers, course manager, assistant teachers, servers making the food. So, you don't have to like put out all the normal little fires you do every day in your regular life. So it's easy in those kinds of ways, but it's hard work to meditate up to 10 hours a day. And it's like physically demanding too. And it's emotional. And so it's also like exhausting to observe yourself that much and have not zero, I guess, but not have a lot of distractions. There's still ways to distract yourself even without all those things. And then the day I came home, I feel like that was me pushing out of the cocoon. And I had emotional release after emotional release after emotional release. And then yesterday was like me learning how to exist in this new form, where I'm like, I'm still me, like I'm still the essence of the caterpillar or the previous me before that 10-day sit, but I have a new way to move. I have a new form, and these wings, my student friend of mine yesterday said, yeah, you might need to just like sit and flap your wings in the sun and let them dry out today. Because I was kind of talking to her about feeling like I was this like new butterfly with paper thin wings that didn't know how to use them and was a little scared because they seemed like fragile and they were the things that were supposed to be moving me, but I didn't know how to use them. And she's like, yeah, maybe you just need to sit and flap them in the sun and let them dry out. So that was yesterday, was really like awkward, of coming back into my life, but in a with a new way to move through it. And today, yeah, here we go. It's my birthday, and I'm not saying like, okay, yay, I'm like, now like I know how to use my wings and I'm flying through and fluttering through all my life and everything's fine, but I'm like, okay, like I trust that on the other side, this is me more in what feels like a natural state with some applied wisdom from my own inner truth, which is just acknowledging, observing, embracing reality as it is, not just as I'd like it to be or wish it was or hope it will be. And there is a power and a strength and a confidence to fly, a confidence to become, a confidence to move, that comes from observing yourself at the deeper, like deeper parts, at the depths. And I don't know if that's possible by being stuck in our heads about it, over analyzing and thinking and talking and talking and talking. And it's amazing that we have all these philosophies, even like yogic philosophy, to turn to study, to learn from as guides. But you know what? It's all just noise if we don't figure out a way to actually observe and apply these teachings. And so that's why I do love the practice of yoga and yoga asana. But, even the yoga asana, the postures, it's just postures, and they're actually just contributing to more noise if you're not allowing yourself to feel your sensations within the framework of your form, your body. If you're just stuck in your mind, right? You have to like feel yourself in the pose in order for it to work, Like that's how yoga works. And to be truthful, there's not a lot of postures that I know of that hit the mark as much as a meditation seat does. And in fact, all the postures were created for us to be able to meditate. But it's the one thing that people skip and don't do the most of, right? And even like in a 60-minute like class, like a hot class, like if we were all like, all right, like let's do a couple postures and like meditate, people are like, I didn't sign up for a meditation class, I signed up for a yoga asana class. So I get it, we have to work out and move things in our body, and we have these, like, some of us, these 9 to 5 jobs where we like sit in one position, and like it's uncalled for to ask ourselves just to sit down and meditate without doing any kind of like stretch. Oh, there's like a huge yellow and black butterfly in the tree across the street right now. So I get it, but the technique of just like sitting your ass down, observing the sensations in your body, learning to not crave for the good ones, learning to not have a complete aversion for the ones that are tough, is so, so, so physically demanding that I would find myself stuck in my head and just retreating to my mind. And then something would happen and I would be aware that I was in a body again, and then be like, oh my goodness, and then be aware of like radiating pain in my shoulder or my knee or my this or my that, and then being like, it is incredible how much my mind will pull me out of feeling what I feel in my body to what seems like protect me from pain, but I am not whole if I don't, if I have no awareness of what is actually happening within me. And I am not whole if I don't learn how to sit with whatever's arising, whether that be a sensation in my body or a circumstance in my life, you know? So I'm very grateful for this technique. And I wanted to share a little bit about it with you before I let you go. I have this pamphlet that I picked up from the center the day I was leaving. Vipassana, which means to see things as they really are, is an ancient technique of meditation. It was rediscovered in India by Gautama Buddha more than 2,500 years ago and was taught by him as a universal remedy for universal ills. This non-sectarian technique aims for the total eradication of suffering and the resultant highest happiness of full liberation. So it's a way of self-transformation through self-observation by focusing on the deep interconnection between mind and body. This is experienced directly through focused attention on bodily sensations, which the unconscious mind is constantly reacting to. Vipassana teaches us how to observe these sensations with an increasingly balanced and equanimous mind. This observation-based, self-exploratory journey of how the mind and body interact retrains negative mental habit patterns, resulting in a balanced mind full of love and compassion. Through direct experience, we understand the way to free ourselves from suffering, and life becomes characterized by increased awareness, wisdom, self-control, and inner peace. Vipassana meditation enables us to dissolve tensions and to unravel the knots within, leading to a happier way of living that is good for yourself and others. So people from different religions and no religion have found the meditation course helpful and beneficial. Vipassana is an art of living, a way of life. While it is the essence of what the Buddha taught, it is not a religion. Rather, it's the cultivation of human values leading to a life which is good for oneself and for others. Moreover, it involves no dependence on a teacher. This technique teaches one to be self-dependent. Vipassana courses are open to anyone sincerely wishing to learn the technique. All Vipassana courses in this tradition throughout the world are organized by volunteers, and they work under local nonprofit charitable organizations dedicated to teaching the teaching of Vipassana meditation. So there's 16 operating Vipassana centers in North America. There's 175 operating centers throughout the world. There are 3 in California, one being right in our backyard if you're from Fresno, North Fork. There's no charges for the course, so it's not even a charge to cover the cost of like lodging and food. All expenses are met by donations from people who have completed a course and experienced the benefits of Vipassana, which to give others the opportunity to benefit from it. So no person involved in its teaching receives any material compensation. So even the assistant teachers, course managers, it's all volunteer. You can also, like, I served a course. Jameson sat, my husband, if you don't know, he sat a course and I served it. I worked in the kitchen. So that's another way you can donate, like if you don't have the funds to donate. And it's also not like required. That's the other thing too, is like you can go and give a donation if you feel like you got benefits from your experience, but it's not like you don't feel pressured. No one's like looking at you like, are you donating? There's a table, you can walk up to it or not. There's like a website, you can donate or not. And then, yeah, of course, you can volunteer at another course to serve other students once you've sat one. And yeah, there's all kinds of ways to pay it forward, I guess. So in order to learn Vipassana meditation, 10 days provides an essential introduction to the technique and allows enough time for the mind to settle down and work deeply with the mind-body phenomenon. During the retreat, students remain within the course site, free from outside distractions. They agree to refrain from reading and writing and to suspend religious practices or other disciplines. They follow a full schedule of meditation with daily instructions and an evening discourse elaborating on the technique. They observe silence, not communicating with fellow students. They may speak to a teacher whenever necessary and contact staff for needs related to food, accommodation, health concerns, that kind of thing. So, for the duration of the course, students try to avoid harmful actions which agitate the mind. They undertake to abstain from killing any living beings, from stealing, from speaking falsely, from sexual activity, and from the use of intoxicants. So you take these 5 precepts as well as the vow of noble silence. During the first 3 days, students learn how to calm and focus the mind with the help of the breath. On the 4th day, they learn the technique of Vipassana, the observations of sensations throughout the body with the experiential understanding of their changing nature and the cultivation of a balanced, non-reactive mind. On day 10, students resume speaking, making the transition back to a more extroverted way of life. With the practice of metta, the meditation of loving kindness, they learn how to share the benefits received during the retreat with others. The course concludes in the early morning of the 11th day. I love that too, because 11 is like my favorite number. So if you were curious about Vipassana, you can go to www.dhamma.org, and we can put that in the show notes too. And you can learn more about it and see if it might be up your alley. If you want to have your own metamorphosis moment, if you would like to go into a cocoon for 10 days, fight your way out, and awkwardly learn how to fly as a new little butterfly, and then eventually build some courage to strut your stuff, flutter all around. I just saw these other 2 butterflies right now, like kind of playing together, or that's what it seemed like. I don't know. And they were like definitely showing off. It was really cool. Yeah. So thank you so much I'm like sitting down on my porch now. I got to go. But thank you so much for listening. If you did listen all the way through, you did. Farron, she looked at some analytics and was like, yeah, the last voice note episode, more people listened all the way through. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll do another one. So if you did listen all the way through, thank you so much. And I'm sending you lots of love and compassion. Bye.